Welcome to the Empowered Life. I am your friend, Ern Inyon. This podcast aims to inspire you to create the life that you want to live. If you are not yet a subscriber, be sure to subscribe and get notified when a new episode is posted. Now let's go on with the show. Hi everyone. In this episode, I want to talk about the dynamics of change. My son Ethan is currently fascinated by our planets and the rest of the universe. Every minute we are bombarded by the songs Ceres, Makemake, Haumea, Eris, Pluto. And those are the dwarf planets. Actually it's the first time that I know there are dwarf planets other than Pluto. And we are also bombarded by questions like how many days it takes Mercury to orbit the sun, and now I know it's the fastest planet, and the number of days Neptune orbits around the sun. So it's amazing how my son is so fascinated about the cosmic. But it made me think why everything in the universe is constantly in motion. So while the planets revolve, they also rotate. We know that, okay? So here on Earth, for example, we have day and night. So everything is in motion. But don't you think there is that possibility that planets or stars may collide? But it never did. Well, that is as far as we know. As far as I know. Well, it's been like that for billions of years. But if we follow logic and try to design a perfect universe, would it be better if everything just stands still? Just occupy a particular space, so that there will be no chance of collision. But the universe was not designed that way. Life was never designed to stand still. Life was never designed to be perfect. It is designed in motion. So change is necessary for life to exist. So maybe that's the reason why 60% of our body is water. As we all know, water needs to be in motion so it won't stink. Just like any body of water that is stagnant, it attracts all sorts of dangerous bacteria causing sickness and diseases. So, change is necessary in life. It is the only constant in life. So we need to better understand change so we could use it to improve our lives. So here are the following are the dynamics of change. So the first one is circumstantial. So when you transfer residence from one place to another, that is an example of circumstantial. So many people or families migrate to US or to other countries like Canada or Australia hoping for greener pastures, as they say. Well, circumstantial changes your environment and your surroundings. Well, it doesn't change you. If you don't like your neighbor, for instance, and you transfer to another village, well, you may have gotten rid of your neighbor, but you still have a neighbor, a new one. So if you don't like our government, for example, and you transfer to another country, you're still going to be governed by the government of that country. So if you migrated to a new place, things will feel different in the first few months or year probably. But you will feel the disparity. But once you have settled, things will feel the same. The result is completely different if the person is driven. So take for example Manny Pacquiao. When he was starting his career as a boxer, he used to fight here in Manila and in the provinces, earning meager prize money. Occasionally he fought in Malaysia and nearby Asian countries. But Manny was driven. He wanted to be the best in the world. So, he went to Las Vegas. and at first he fought on undercards, then later earned to fight in the main event, and the rest is history. So M- Manny to change his circumstances or environment because the money was not here. So he needed to change his circumstances. The second type of change is state. Okay, my son Ethan loves chocolates and donuts. Every time he eats Krispy Kreme, it is like his first time to eat it. So he savors every bite with matching sarap. So when he eats the donut, his state changes to high as he is excited. So just like when you buy shoes or bags, okay, your feeling goes up. You feel that elation, you feel happy, or you lost in a game. Just like yesterday, Ateneo won over UP in a rematch of last year's UAAP Senior Basketball Championship. So a lot of my friends from UP are sad now, while people from Ateneo are so jubilant. This feeling may carry them for days, probably for months, but after a while, it goes back to normal. This is state change. That is why you don't make decisions based on emotions. The third type of change is physiological. The third type of change, I gained weight during this pandemic, roughly around 15 pounds. If I go back to the gym on a regular basis and change my diet, I will lose definitely that weight, or even more, hopefully. If I don't, but if I don't and maintain my eating habits, for sure I will add more weight. My weight has been up and down over the years, as I was pretty active when I was younger. I loved playing basketball a lot and regularly went to the gym. But these past years, I spent a lot more sitting than walking. That's physiological change. So I need to put in the time and re-establish the habit so that I will see results. The fourth type of change is psychological. Okay. Psychological change begins when you start asking, why do you believe on such concept or idea? It can be many things, okay? So, for example, how we perceive is usually anchored on our psychological belief. So, the world that you have created is really your perception. So, not until you challenge your existing belief, nor no psychological change will happen. I mentioned this several episodes back that many of us are cradle Catholics or cradle Christians because our parents were Christians or Catholics. The beliefs were basically handed over to us, and we just accepted it. We didn't ask, we didn't question it. Okay, cultural also is another strong influence on us. Um, so we seldom ask why we believe because that has been the practice for many generations. So asking or questioning is like questioning your ancestors, right? Um, but then again, there's no harm in that. I mean, for me, there's no harm in that. Okay. Again, not until you summon the courage to ask why, no psychological change will happen. Okay, so the fifth type of change is behavioral. Behavioral pertains to habits. We are creatures of habits. If you study how your day or week goes, it follows a pattern of habits. So for me, for example, I normally wake up at 5 a.m., sometimes earlier, but regularly it's 5 a.m. And regardless of what time I sleep, whether 1 o'clock in the morning or 9 in the evening, I usually wake up at 5. Okay. And um, I just go back to sleep if I feel I lack sleep. Normally I eat 2 square meals a day. That's lunch and dinner. Lately I skip. I'm skipping breakfast. Because I needed to lose weight. I always get a book. So if you look at my day, I always get a book to read or work on a project. Um, and before sleeping, I'll write down the things I need to do for the next day. So wherever I am in my goals is the product of the behavioral patterns I have. So earlier I mentioned that I need to lose some weight. That means I need to change my habit, especially in the morning and the food that I eat. The bulk of becoming successful is really discipline. When you have discipline, you are halfway through. The last type of change is character development. If you want to grow in maturity, consistency, and making decisions, you need to develop your character. Character development looks into your values and principles in life. So those are the 6 types of change, or the dynamics of change. The first 3 types, circumstantial, state, and physiological, are temporary changes, while the last 3 types are permanent change. So if you want lasting change in your life, you have to focus on the last 3, which is psychological, behavioral, and character change. The 3 are interconnected. So for example, if a person believes that he is worthless, he will behave like he is worthless. He will not value himself. He will always choose the lesser stuff and will not even dream of a better life because he believes he doesn't deserve it. So many people resort to the first 3 types of change to feel better. Okay, so they get plastic surgery, get a nose lift or bust lift. They buy stuff they don't need. They travel. I'm not saying that these are not good, but if you're doing it for the reason that you want to be feeling worthy, then that's a question mark. Okay. Some people, they need to wear high valued items so that they can hide their insecurity. They feel that they are okay because all of their life they are hiding under a mask. But when you remove that mask, everything crumbles. So many people are so resistant to change. And it is understandable because everyone wants to stay in their comfort zone. Yeah, because change requires sacrifices. However, if you don't go through that pain, there is no price. There is no gain. And life remains stagnant. And just like stagnant water, you will attract all sorts of suffering. Thank you so much for listening, friends. Please rate and review this podcast and share it to your friends. Until next time, blessings always.